Welcome to This Week in 3D. I don't think I need to explain what that is. The hint is in the name, and it's mostly something I've invented so that I can practice my newsreader voice. I feel like if this gets popular, I might even have to find an intimidating theme tune that makes you instantly conditioned to expect depressing news. Anyway, here we go, and it's not just this week, because there was also a last week. I'm not really sure how often we're going to end up doing this. It might end up this month in 3D. Anyway, let's just go with it. Ultimaker and MakerBot merge with a fresh, inventive name. Yeah, I got to work on the newsreader voice. Give me a few weeks, I'll get there. This is something that would have been covered weeks ago if I was doing this then, so it's kind of old news now, but I think it's big enough to include. MakerBot was previously owned by Stratasys, and the news is now that MakerBot and Ultimaker have now merged into one entity that isn't Stratasys, which is now complete, and the new name is MakerBaker. No, it's not. It's Ultimaker, with a capital M. I know. In their defense, I'm not sure what else they could have chosen. Anyway, there is some interesting potential future outcomes here, as this means that now Ultimaker now owns Thingiverse, the ailing STL sharing website. I think I could call it that. I was around for that time when it stopped working probably last year-ish. And there have been some hints that they may have plans for it that don't involve just adding more ads. I don't really have any information or any clue what the future direction is going to be for the new company, but I was sad to see that the referred to already as former CEO of Ultimaker lowercase m plans to leave. I'm not sure what to think about that. Hopefully nothing. I want to be optimistic about the future for the new company and Cura and Thingiverse. Unusual for me, I know. Of course, on the topic of Ultimaker, we already know that Cura 4.2 Beta was released last week because I put a video out about it, and you've all already watched it, so I don't need to mention it, right? ERRF is looming on the horizon for North American viewers, while the rest of the world braces for the massive influx of ERRF-related content on social media. That is a joke, by the way. I do want to see your pictures from ERRF. This is the 8th and 9th of October, and ERRF is taking place in America. So if you live there, why not pop over and check it out? Please be careful though, after what happened in MRRF earlier this year, where a not insignificant number of 3D printing attendees got infected by you-know-what. That is not the kind of thing I mean when I say influx of ERRF-related content. And I will say no more, I'm not your parents. It looks huge though. I would take part if I lived in that place called America, but I don't, so have fun if you are going. Also, if you can help E3D, as they've once again had their stuff held up in customs. This is the third time I think I've seen this, so just keep an eye on that if you're going, and if you can potentially help them out by even just taking them some tea bags or something, I'm sure it will be appreciated. Buyers left spoiled for choice as multiple machine releases announced this week. Actually, then they're not all this week, not even close. There's the BQ Huracan, which is probably not the best timing for a machine with that name, but that is the name that they've gone with. It's a Klipper bed slinger, which is a first, I think, commercially. I already have the FL Sun V400, which it's interesting to see where Big Tree Tech, which is BQ, where they're going in terms of Klipper, because they're a sponsor now. But anyway, more about that later. I have a Huracan coming to review apparently, but it's currently delayed. I don't think it's due to high winds, but that would be ironic. Anyway, the Sovol SV06 was also announced this week. Sovol, in an unusual move, started out with a cloth over the printer and slow reveals of the features, but I guess they got annoyed because they made it look like a kind of cube shape, and people kept asking if it was a Core XY, and they just released the product page. By the time I share this, it may be public. Hopefully will be. I mean, it kind of already is. I have one of these machines already. I have a pre-production machine that I've been testing out. I feel like the SV06 will be a refreshingly different printer in an era of bigger and more featureless machines, meaning visually featureless. All machines at the moment seem to look like black 2040 aluminium extrusions with nothing else on them. We don't talk about how much this looks like a you-know-what. G-Tech have released their Thunder printer. It's all about the weather at the moment, isn't it? Didn't there used to be a BQ Thunder as well? Anyway, I don't have a review planned of this. I don't know if I will. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in hearing about it. It's claimed to do 300 millimeters per second, but I don't know. I mean, I'd be surprised, but you never know. I'll give it a chance. It claims a 21-minute benchy, and that's actually quite fast. The steppers have closed loop control, which also could be interesting to poke at. I have some of the so-called closed loop drivers here, which is just encoders that go behind the stepper just to kind of check the location. They're not really that useful in the implementation that I've got, but I noticed that they're wired separately in this implementation, which is making me wonder if they're slightly more intelligent. I don't know. It and the Hurricane are both Bowden, though, and not direct drive, and that is weird. I can't entirely understand that as a choice, but there you go. Prusa has done a thing. That's the title I actually have here. I'm on a deadline. It is what it is. Prusa have apparently added into their firmware a thermal protection function that, to quote them, aims to detect unexpected heating issues of any sort. That's a bold claim. I wonder if that includes when Marlin is idle and not during a print. I've seen that, that's quite scary. Not a Prusa printer, I might add. Anyway, yeah, it's based on simulating the hot end, and I haven't looked into it that much, but it seems on the face of it that they're doing something a bit not unlike a little-known functionality in Marlin that nobody uses that's called, model predictive temperature control. Someone I know well on our Discord has previously recommended I look at this, and it's pretty high on my to-do list, so expect that soon. But as it stands, it looks like maybe that's what this is, maybe not. Could be just similar wording. I don't have time to dig into that for this news thing. Comment if you know. Obviously, the upshot is that this is supposedly going to be able to detect things like this, which honestly would be quite nice, as that's nightmare fuel. Top tip, if you ever get this, by the way, I see people all the time panicking. It's not that bad if you set the hot end to the glass point of the material, so that's 60 degrees C for PLA, and then you can peel it off in big sections. And finally, social media users are losing their minds over gaining full control over their 3D printers. You see what I did there? Full control is a spreadsheet VBA thingy that you can put numbers in, and it makes raw G-code for your printer. It doesn't involve the use of a slicer like Cura. I think Thomas Sanleder has covered it in the past, among others, no doubt. You can break all the normal slicer rules because we don't need a slicer where we're going, but to say it's intimidating is an understatement. And of course it needs Excel. It needs proper Excel. It won't even work on LibreOffice. I tried it. But that is not the news. The news is that I'm surprised VBA is still a thing. No, that's not the news either. The actual news is that there is now a website called fullcontrol.xyz, which is different to the standard one, and it looks very fancy, and it's like an advent calendar of models to print out. What I'm really interested in is the promise of a Python version of Full Control. I can't imagine I'm the only one here who's excited about that, but the examples on this website are somewhat customizable, and in most cases a bit of a show-off with regards to what FDM is capable of. And that's right up my street, obviously. That's it, you're probably vaguely up to date. I have been talking, and this was the week in 3D. Cut to the news music that we may or may not have yet.